Today, we are incredibly excited to welcome two individuals to our stage, Marsha Mockabee and Kevin Clayton. Marsha Mockabee is in her 14th year serving as president and CEO of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland. When she was first appointed to the role permanently in 2011, Marsha became, impossible to believe, only the first woman to hold the position at the 103-year-old Cleveland affiliate. In her role, Marsha leads an agenda empowering African Americans to develop and exercise their potential on par with all other Americans through education, research, advocacy, and provision of services. Marsha has more than 3 decades of nonprofit leadership experience, as well as educational credentials that include a bachelor's degree from Concordia University, a CNM from Case Western Reserve, and an MBM from Indiana Wesleyan. She is known amongst the National Urban League colleagues as a turnaround strategist and specialist and has earned many, many accolades. Among other notable accomplishments, Marsha was a founding member of Make Racism a Public Health Issue in the city of Cleveland. And last but certainly not least, Marsha is a proud graduate of the Leadership Cleveland class of 2013. Joining Marsha today is Kevin Clayton, the Executive Vice President, Chief Impact and Equity Officer for the Rock Entertainment Group, which of course includes the Cleveland Cavaliers, Rocket Fieldhouse, and more. Under his leadership, Kevin oversees community relations and engagement, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and the Cavaliers Community Foundation. Kevin previously held executive positions at Mercy Health in Cincinnati, the United States Tennis Association in New York, Russell Athletic in Atlanta, and Jump Ball Corporation, a company that Kevin founded, which leverages diversity and inclusion to drive business results through innovation in non-traditional markets. In 2023, after serving on the board at the Urban League of Greater Cleveland for some time, Kevin took on the incredible role as chair of the board. Like Marsha, Kevin has received many, many accolades, including most recently, the 2024 Humanitarian Award presented by the Diversity Center in Cleveland. Not only is Kevin a graduate of Leadership Cleveland 2023, he is also class co-president. We've invited Marsha and Kevin here today to talk with us about the incredible work that the Urban League of Greater Cleveland is doing in our region, and in particular, the preparations that are in full swing for this summer when Cleveland will be the host site for the National Urban League Conference, which I understand promises to be the largest and most influential gathering in the nation focused on civil rights and urban advocacy. At this point, I'm going to turn it over and say welcome, Marsha. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Just give you a conference recap from 2024. We actually had over 11,000 in-person attendees for that conference, 7,000 registered virtual attendees, because we also have a virtual component for the conference, okay? And we had over 200 speakers at that conference. 80% of those that attended last conference have said that they will return and register for the 2025 conference in Cleveland. And so, you know, we are looking for a very robust turnout and very, very excited about, you know, what that can look like. We get a 78% very satisfied overall satisfaction rate for our conference. And 59% every year are new attendees who never attended before. So, you know, just wanted to, you know, make sure that you understood kind of what, you know, the prospects are of our conference. You already mentioned, Betsy, that this is one Becky, I'm sorry, that you're, this is one of the most outstanding conferences on civil rights and influential conferences in the country. And so we're happy to have been selected for Cleveland. Why Cleveland? Because of the robust and exciting things that we have here in Cleveland, around civil rights that have happened in the past, around the amazing assets we have in the city of Cleveland, among the people that so impressed our conference team when they came in to decide, and they said, you know, we never knew what Cleveland was like. And Kevin has been talking about why Cleveland ever since we started on this journey together. So, in addition, the demographics of the conference look like this. We have 62% female that normally attend and 38% male. And then there is, you know, a whole list of individuals that have been looked at in terms of the demographics of education across the board. It's very varied in terms of who actually attend the conference for different reasons. And so we have so many conference. Um, there we go. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel, for making it happen for us. So this is where I was. You can see the education levels, college graduates, high school graduates, you know, varied levels of education. And we try to have something for everyone at this conference. And so there are lots of opportunities for corporate sponsors to be involved to increase their brand in this. And then there is also opportunity for individuals to be involved in the big community day that we have on Saturday. That's our gift from the conference, from National Urban League and your local affiliate back to the city, where we invite for free all kinds of members from our community, and there are many giveaways, many services, and that is a very important place to be. There is also the kickoff on Wednesday night, the 16th, which is also free and open to the public, which will be Mark Morial's state of the Urban League address for the conference. And he'll kick that off at the Cleveland Church of Christ. And that'll be around 5:30 that afternoon. Again, free and open to the public. And then we go to the next exciting part of the kickoff of our conference, which is our host night. And the host night will be hosted at our brand newly named facility. Okay. And I'm going to turn that over to Kevin and let him take that. Kevin, if we could
Sure.
advance to the
Yeah,
host night part.
actually, Marsha, can we just go right back to this one slide for 1 second, please? I
Okay,
just wanted to call out, I wanted to call out a couple of things because
Yes.
oftentimes people think, oh, the Urban League. Okay, that's that kind of old, staunchy civil rights organization. Please look at the age demographic. 70% of the folks who attend this are under the age of 55. And then the sweet spot, if you look at just kind of from, you know, the age groups that are represented, you know, it's for everybody. Like it's not just for folks that are older. It's a multi-generational experience. Yes, it's primarily African American, but what we want to do in our community is to show the unity of how Cleveland rolls. And I need Cleveland to support me because I've been out for 3 years, and Marsha would tell me, I'm like, look, this is why Cleveland. We just roll very differently in Cleveland. Do not compare us to any other city. There is a reason why we set records for the women's Final Four. There's a reason why we set records for the NBA All-Star game that was hosted here, the NFL draft, MLB's All-Star game. So we have a track record that I'm very confident in talking about. So let's move on to the next slide, please. And Marsha just kind of talked about that. If we move on to the next one after that, please.
Yeah. You want to go down to the host night stuff, Kevin?
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going, Rachel. Okay, keep going. Keep going. One more. There you go. There you go, Kevin.
Okay. Yep. So all the things that you just saw that we're going to bypass only for the sake of time are the many different events that we have that are going to touch the Northeast Ohio community. What we are really, really excited about is that our opening reception, and we have to change the graphic at some point because it is Rocket Arena. We intend to bring together Cleveland through a family reunion kind of atmosphere. And our concept is bridging generations through music and culture. If you can go to the next slide, please. And our theme really, if you think about old school, new school, it's how do we connect with making sure that we have something for everybody. So for those of you who have been to any event here of any significance, you know we use this whole building. We have the atrium. We have some of our clubs available. So what we're going to do, and it's not as important to look at the timing on this as, there'll be a reception that's throughout the building. We're going to do a fashion show. We have a jazz lounge. We have vendors that are going to be around the building. We have a marketplace that we're going to create for vendors to be able to kind of share their wares and sell their wares. We're going to have in the atrium, we're going to have artists that are going to be there painting and showing and displaying their wares. It will feel like a total community coming under the Rocket Arena's roof. Then what's going to happen once the ceremonies at the church conclude, we're going to, on the floor in the bowl, we will have, right now we're looking at 2 stages, old school artists on one, new school artists kind of going back and forth. We'll have a chance to welcome the crowd, welcome the audience. We're going to have 15 to 1,800 folks on the floor. We're going to have people in the stands. It will be a major party going back and forth. And these are going to be local artists. We're looking to have 1 or 2 headliners as well. But our plan is to create the most significant opening ceremony that the Urban League has ever seen. Typically, they're in museums or some sort of community gathering area from city to city. The advantage that we have is that we have Rocket Arena in which we can welcome the world into. And I say the world because we do have people from all across the globe that will come to this event. And as I said earlier, because of the magnitude of the moment in society, this is probably going to be one of the most sought after event incoming, because the agenda for fairness, equality, diversity, and democracy is going to be crafted here in Cleveland through the Urban League's event. Marsha, did I miss anything that you want me to add?
Not at all, Kevin. Thank you. That was great. And so we're just, thankful for the partnership that we have with Kevin and Rocket Arena, and our and being able to bring this all together for our conference. And I can tell you that we're really on schedule for our planning. Our National Urban League staff is excited about how on track we are with our planning. And we're just looking to just blow this out of the water and have people leaving saying, we got to come back to Cleveland, because we had no idea how amazing Cleveland was.
Thank you, Marsha. Thank you, Kevin. It sounds like it's going to be an incredible 4 days come this July. So if people don't have it on their calendar yet, I'll say it again. July 16 through July 20 is when this will be happening. Well, it looks like there'll be lots of different locations. The Huntington Convention Center is going to be a huge piece of it. Clearly, the host night will be at Rocket Fieldhouse. I've got to get on that new name. So lots of excitement. I would love to pick up where we left off, Kevin, on your remark about this being the magnitude of the moment. There is clearly an awful lot of conversation happening at the national level and across the state, with a renewed and different, I'll say, lens being applied to efforts around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm interested in terms of the content that the conference will be presenting. Has the agenda changed because of conversations in the last several months? Is it still being worked out? How do you see the content of the conference coming forward?
Yeah. Hey, Marsha, do you want to take a moment to just kind of talk about the overarching, the 3D
Sure.
strategy that we have,
Sure.
and then I can add some of the connecting points.
Absolutely, sure. So let me start, Becky, by just saying that the Urban League follows a 3D agenda. And the 3D agenda is to defend democracy, demand diversity, okay, and also to support programming and so forth that is to also, defend or defeat poverty. So it's those 3 things. Now, I will also share quickly that the National Urban League has filed a suit against the executive orders around, blocking diversity and equity and inclusion. So that should sort of have you understand the tone that the Urban League is taking around this issue, and really protecting the rights that have been long one, and hard fought, and won over a long time, and really making sure that there's a way forward to continue the excellent work that has happened that is really contributing to the success of businesses. So, Kevin.
Yep. So Becky, one of the things that we did, we meaning Marsha, myself, and our board, we began this journey 3 years ago to strategically understand where's the puck going, which is kind of Wayne Gretzky's famous statement that he became the all-time leading scorer in hockey, not by looking at where the puck was, but where is it going? So if you take that tagline, and I would just share also with our listeners that if we think forward, where is our business going? Where is the organization going? You can plan accordingly. We saw this storm coming and called it out through several different programs. And then what we did was we built what's called the Equity Institute, which is a two-track strategy of how do we pull together leaders of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I love the fact that you called it out by that versus the term of DEI, which we know means something very different than what diversity, equity, and inclusion are. So as we looked at that, we wanted to bring together, and I think we have over 22 or 24 members that range from all over our city: education, business, sports, academia, healthcare. And we have been strategizing for this moment. At the same time, we built out a curriculum that was to help people in dealing with kind of what the past state was. Now we're building out for the future state around strategy. What do you do with ERGs? How do you leverage and how do you manage in crisis? So with that, we were just on a call Monday with National to say that as you're building out the agenda, we want a part of that to talk about how you move forward from talking about the Equity Institute, because it's going to take communities coming together strategically to deal with some of the challenges that we're dealing with right now. So that's one part that we are absolutely making sure that gets on the agenda, which they said yes on. The other is that our sports teams have historically, for decades, for years, been at the forefront of social justice and change. When you think about all three of our major sports teams, they have a record of the first Black manager or first player with the Guardians, and that's Larry Doby Jr. and Frank Robinson, first in baseball. The Browns with Bill Willis and Marion Motley, they were two of the four first in football to break the color barrier. And for us, with Wayne Embry, he was the first Black Black president in all of the NBA. We have broken first. And then you think about Carl Stokes as the first Black mayor. We have a long list, including even in hockey, where one of the first Black females ever in hockey came from Cleveland. So with that, we want to show the Cleveland story, but also provide remedies, solutions as to how we can move forward as a nation. And Mark has looked at our model. He's been here to kick it off and is absolutely supportive of the work that we're doing.
I love it. All right, I've got one more convention question to ask, which is, so obviously we know how Cleveland rolls. It is one of the best, if not the best cities in this country. But I'm curious, was there something that tipped the scales when you were bidding on this conference? What really was the game changer that made your national convention say yes to coming to Cleveland? And I ask in part because I know there's some folks watching who are interested in trying to land their own national conferences and conventions.
Go for it, Marsha.
Okay, I was going to say, you want me to take that with Kevin? So basically, Kevin had a conversation with Mark Morial that went something like this. Hey, Mark, of all the conferences that I've been to, have been aware of, there's no place that local sports teams have a strong, or national sports teams have a presence, a strong presence within the conference, and are showing influence in the work that you're doing. We have that in Cleveland, and we think that you ought to consider coming to Cleveland so that we can show the world what that looks like, and we can connect the National Urban League in that way so that, that particular partnership opportunity can flourish on beyond the conference in Cleveland.
Yeah,
Anything to
the
add?
other two quick things I would add, and because I've been a part of not only this particular bid, but also obviously with the NBA All-Star Game coming to Cleveland and the Women's Final Four, the proximity of how everything is located downtown is a big driver. The fact that you can walk around. I just left San Francisco for the NBA All-Star Game out there, and any place you want to go, you have to get in a car, you have to get in an Uber, you have to move around. So our downtown and how we maximize downtown is the other part. And then the assumption, and I say assumption because they came in the wintertime, the assumption of how beautiful our city is on the water in the summertime, in July, that was also another selling point. And I think we're going to have a hard time keeping people in their sessions for them wanting to come out and seeing our city.
Yeah, that's a tough one to fight, but July was definitely a much better pick than January 2025. So I would be remiss if I didn't say that in the chat, I see that Jill Ziman, who is one of the co-chairs along with India Birdsong Terry, also both CLC alums and leaders are in the house and excited about the work that they're doing as co-chairs to help with the conference, which by the way reminds me, if you're interested in a Cleveland Leadership Center program, we've got deadline coming up Friday, Leadership Cleveland, Bridge Builders, and Onboard Cleveland. I got to ask, so this is the Leadership Center, Marsha. As I think about leadership in this conversation, it sure strikes me that you picked the right guy to step into the role of board chair. And I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about, as you were contemplating a new chair a couple years ago, why was Kevin the right guy for this time?
So timing is everything. I'd had the opportunity to meet Kevin in Cincinnati before he left. Through at an Urban League event because he was on the Urban League board in Cincinnati. That's always a real good credential to look at somebody to be on your board. Certainly, as soon as he got here to Cleveland, I reconnected with him and asked him to join the board. But it wasn't until we got to know each other a little, over time and realized that we shared some common vision and some common passion about what we're doing and, could clearly see that he was the person to be the board chair for this season. And I'm so thankful he said yes.
Absolutely. I think
Thank
we're all
you, Marsha.
thankful he said yes. Seems pretty obvious the why. All right, we are running, we've got just a couple minutes left. I'm going to ask you a completely different question, but it talks about the partnership between the Cavs and the Urban League. I was reading about an initiative that was launched in September of 2024 called Hoops and Hooves, which is a collaboration between the Cavaliers Community Foundation, Urban League, and then My Brother's Keeper of Greater Cleveland and Hope Meadows Foundation. Just real quickly, what is that? And tell me why this kind of a partnership, and are there others in the future that we should be watching out for?
Yeah, so I'll jump in. Becky, my passion, believe it or not, is riding horses. I love riding horses. I love the equestrian lifestyle, and it has to do with the relationship between horses and humans. Hope Meadows, they have a program that they actually, from a therapeutic standpoint, use horses and kids, horses and youth, horses and just people in general, from a calming standpoint, to build confidence, what have you. Our program, and I'm wearing two hats now. We sponsor My Brother's Keeper, and I'm the chair of the Urban League, obviously, and My Brother's Keeper. That part of what we do, that's around bringing young men together and having them to have multiple experiences that develop their whole selves. I had wanted to connect the fact that these are young men from the inner city that have not experienced what it's like to even be around horses. And if you could have seen them, and they brought their families out. So it was, how do we continue to build the whole self of the young men in our program? The Cavs, for us, we want to facilitate all of that. And we had a relationship with both. Hope Meadows is one of our grantees. So it was really a 1 + 1 + 1 = 10. And that's how we got involved.
I love it. I love it. Well, as the mother of a horseback rider, I couldn't help but ask. So my last question for both of you is that these are challenging times. The plates are very full. You both have very substantial jobs. And then in your non-job life, in your extracurriculars, you are equally busy in the civic realm. How do you keep yourself hopeful? How do you keep yourself healthy? And Marsha, why don't I go to you first?
So I'm a very spiritual person, Becky. So meditation, prayer, staying in my word helps me keep grounded. And then Kevin and I have a commitment to each other that we are like iron sharpening iron. So when one of us is having a tough moment, we always make a moment somehow to connect and encourage each other. And so that helps. And we have a wonderful board that also does the same. So, we know that we're in this for this season, that it's our time to do what we have to do. And so we don't take that lightly, and we just keep moving.
Kevin?
Yeah, the exact same answer from the standpoint that my faith is grounding for me. That's what I stand on. Also know that I have a personal calling coming back to Cleveland, and it's for such a time as this to be here. And I'm answering the calling. And as far as those things in which kind of keep me grounded and keep me energized, obviously the basic things, working out and having good friends to support. But I just know that such a time as this, leadership is needed. And I have an opportunity to leverage the Cavs platform and the role that I have with the Urban League to make a difference.
Excellent. Well, we are the true beneficiaries of your leadership and your commitment to answering the calling that you both bring. Marsha, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today.